Hi everyone, this is Jen from Jen Metamorphosis Mentoring. And today I have a beautiful guest from Singapore with me today. And her name is Bingz Huang. So I'm gonna just introduce you as this nurturing mother of 3 boys. Not only that, you're an intuitive healer. You also do human design reading for solopreneurs to help them to tap into their gifts. Wow, you have a lot of gifts. So let me just recap. You're a sensitive empath. So I have a lot to talk to you about this later, I feel. And you are an author of 2 books, and it's all about gentleness. I think this is the thing for today. Now we're going to dive in because what I really care about, the thing of being authentic about who we truly are. I think gentleness is a big factor that we have to dive into. Okay. And what else? Yeah. And you are a supporter of solopreneurs to build their brand, or do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that? Because you have Medium,
so content marketing on via Medium.
Yes.
To share their expertise, their insights, their experiences.
Yeah, you have 2 platforms on Medium, right?
I've recently merged the publications into just one, Gentleness Ambassadors. Yeah.
Okay, so first thing first, I feel right off the bat, I want to just dive into this gentleness theme with you, because what I care about is compassion and radiance. These are the themes of my business. But at the same time, I want to know more about how did your journey, your personal journey, lead you to where you are, talking about, hey, gentleness is important and I'm here to be the ambassador. I'm giving a voice to that, because gentleness could be, we know, or be gentle with yourself is important. At the same time, it's like, it's so quiet, right? It's quiet, it's not loud. And you have such a beautiful presence about you, which is that inner strength, the quiet power, I feel. So I would love for you to share your personal journey. Like, how did you start connecting with the energy of being gentle with yourself?
Okay, so it all depends on how far back I want to go.
Go ahead. This is all yours.
So first of all, I'm a Virgo.
Yes.
So I'm a recovering perfectionist, and that's a nice contrast to practicing gentleness, I feel. And I first wanted to write a book about healing 9 years ago. That was after I quit from a sponsored course in physical therapy.
Right.
So I originally quit my job as an engineering executive because I wanted to be a healer, but I wasn't sure how to make that sustainable. So I dove into healthcare, and I saw a route to become a physical therapist.
Yes.
But it didn't work out because I forgot to include my empathy, like how sensitive I really am. I just break down in the hospital environment. So when I was doing my internship there, I couldn't function properly, even though I excelled in the academic part of it.
Yes.
So I had to quit the course. And
do you mind if I ask when did it happen?
When? So in 2009, I started the course. It was a diploma course, and in 2011, towards the end of my second year, even though I only had 1 more year to go before completing, I just crashed. I needed to leave right now. And
physically,
it was
physically, emotionally, on all levels.
Yes. Yes, my teacher had to assess me in hospital, and I just broke down in front of her, and I had to excuse myself. And before that, I was crying every day on the way to the hospital. So I couldn't get anything to work at all. It just my soul was just begging for me to quit. Like, even though I'm not a quitter, I try not to be a quitter. And I sort of it was a big thing for me to change a career. So that was like supposed to be my turning point, where I become a physical therapist. And I had the grand vision of being a physical therapist and being able to use my energy healing skills with the patients.
Yes.
So it didn't work out that way, because it was just very painful, needing to do the objective assessment, and that there's a lot of analytical work involved that I couldn't really sort of blend in with my intuitive healing skills. And in addition, the environment was very stressful, because I could sense their suffering, the patients, and how you know how busy the hospital staff are. So I could sense all of that, but I didn't realize that. But I know that I need to get out now. So that even though I know I had to, like, when I leave, I need to pay all the liquidated damages for breaking the sponsorship bond. It was better than like dooming my life, because I can feel like I have so much to offer, that I want to contribute. I truly want to help other people. So I quit. And to help, it was during that time, at my lowest point, that I sort of channeled these words that you are loved, you'll always be loved. And like everything will make sense when you feel that love. And I actually wrote down in a small little notebook and call it my book. So it's like there's a little book cover.
Yeah.
And that was the first phrase in the book. So that was my first vision for my book. But it was only in 2019, when my third child was, I think, 2 years old, reaching 2, that I feel I need to share this thing about gentleness.
And what actually prompted you during your third child's birth? Is there anything that significant happened that makes you feel like, oh, I guess I need to be more with myself?
Yeah. First of all, it was totally unexpected. We weren't planning to have a third child.
Yeah.
So that actually led to a lot of trauma and conflict. And I had to insist that I want to have this child. So I want him in our family.
Yes.
And followed on, there was a lot of healing to do around the stress of having an additional child, and also repairing my relationship with my husband.
Yes.
And all of this requires a huge amount of gentleness. You really can't force such things to happen, and you need gentleness in order to sort of let down your defenses and really communicate openly, like all my fears and dreams and hopes with my partner and my husband, and also being open to hearing his side as well. And also being able to have 3 kids to cope with the reality of having 2 very active boys,
yes.
One needing to tend to a baby. So it's like I really need to pen it down so I can remember it. So I can know that this gentleness, although it's subtle and it's not SEO friendly word, it's it's what I actually feel brings the most healing gift to me. Like even as I'm writing the book and I revisit my memory bank on all the modalities, all the teachers who have touched me deeply. Yeah. It's all true gentleness. It's not true force, like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. It's about the tears that just flow out when I'm sitting quietly with my teacher, Ellen Harriet. And also the tools that I use, like essential oils, where you just need to be open in acknowledging what you feel, what your thoughts are, even when they might not feel positive at that point. So all this points to gentleness. Yeah, it's like a huge aha moment when I was writing it. Yeah.
While you're speaking, I'm having this aha moment too. Simultaneously. So gentleness is required is because it gives us safety, right? We feel safe in the moment. And this project is called authenticity, and it doesn't matter what it costs, but we are here to experience what it feels more true to us, to our soul, to our desires, to our wants, to our needs, right? But in order for us to be, have that courage, before we have the courage to say, okay, I'm gonna go forward and be true to myself, I need to feel safe first, right? I need to feel safe first, because there's no way I'm gonna push myself, just like shuffle myself out into the window and then expect myself to function like a normal human being, right?
Yes.
When we're HSP, highly sensitive people. And when you talk about gentleness, so profound, is because it really gives you the room to have that safety. And then so you're able to be you in that moment, regardless what's been happening, right?
Yes.
That safety is mandatory, I think. It's not just good to have, but it's mandatory in order for us to say, okay, then I feel safe to be free, to be who I am, or how I'm going to express myself to the outer world, with the loved ones, with family, with colleagues, with anybody else, right?
Yes, that's so true. So from the human design aspect, I found that when we are very sensitive to the external environment, it can feel a lot louder and also a lot more interesting because it keeps changing and urgent. So when we keep reacting to the outside, we lose touch with the inside, and it gets harder and harder to come home to ourselves. And what you talk about safety.
Yes, I mean, I'm a testimony for that, because I can feel like, ever since I was little, I mean, growing up without knowing that I'm an HSP, and I could feel, easily emotionally, mentally, like overly like flooded, right? But
Yeah.
people around me, they were acting normal. So I was judging myself. There's something wrong with you, Jen. What's going on with you that you feel so much? But yet I had a hard time to communicate with other people about how I felt because they were not as sensitive as I was, And then
Yes.
so admitting my sensitive nature to my loved ones, for example, was daunting to me. Was it difficult for you to accept this part of you and then just admit this part of you, acknowledging it to, for example, your partner or, to your family members?
Yeah, so for my husband, he's the only one who allows me to like cry on his shoulder and just accept that crying is part of who I am. So that already is a huge breakthrough for me to feel safe to cry in the company of my loved one.
Yes.
But I've never really thought of myself as a sensitive person. I've become sort of numb in my first 20 to 30 years until I became a mom. Yes. And when you're a sensitive mom, you feel so much from your baby, but yet you can't bear to leave your baby because your baby doesn't hide its energy. It's out. It's loud. And it's urgent because it's there's this innate need to wanting to help my baby be safe. So after that, there was a lot of resentment because I wanted to leave that aura, but I couldn't. So it's a lot of attachment issues. And yeah, that was a whole learning journey to accept that I really am sensitive, and also to see my chart and notice that I really have a few centers that are open to sensing others.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like you're really speaking for all the mothers in the world, the mother nature, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a mother, but I have a big inner child in me. And I have to say, like, allowing myself to feel sensitive in my early 20s is almost impossible because, first of all, I didn't know I was a sensitive, like you said. And when you were saying numbing, I was like, I was numbing myself for the majority part of my life too, especially when I was working in the IT industry. I was, doing my corporate sales job out in the front. So the less I feel, the better, and there's no patience needed because the faster they'll go grab the orders, purchasing orders and go do your things, it's more important. Yeah. No patience required. Impatience is actually honored. So it's such a humbling journey to be honest. Like when I hear you talking about being gentle, that I feel that includes being patient with ourselves, right? And allowing whatever that wants to come through, not to avoid that feeling.
Yeah.
And you never know, like when it's gonna come and when it's gonna go.
Yes.
That feeling is a flow of energy too, right? And I feel so, my heart is just like tingling while you're speaking, your experience of you feeling your children and then just like unstoppable like energetic exchange.
Yeah.
And being gentle with yourself, I want to hear more about it. It's like, okay, then you realize being gentle with myself is important, but how do you apply? Like, how do you do anything that's like practical to help you to be more gentle with yourself then?
So initially I learned about energy healing.
Yes.
And it helps me to sense the energetic reality beneath what people say and do. so that you're not too caught up in the mental interaction.
Yes.
Yeah. And you don't over rationalize. Then the other part about learning how it's normal for me to be sensitive, like according to my chart, it just feels so validating, like it's not something to be fixed.
Yeah.
So it feels like a truth that I can accept about myself. And the third thing is through writing my first book, I keep sharing about how it's important to process our feelings intuitively.
Yes.
So that you're not rationalizing. And I shared examples like inhaling essential oils, and also listening to music, drawing, singing, dancing. And that part sort of got to me because it's in my awareness, but I wasn't really doing enough of it. So it was only after writing that book that I kept going through that phase of spending more time processing through now through writing, through moving my body, through singing. I love just like being alone in my car and just la 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 or with my kids, and it can just practice sounds and all that and just let it go. Then that's how that's the most effective way. So you're not blocking when you're thinking about what you're sensing and saying, oh, did I get this feeling of anger from that person, from this particular event? Then it gets in the way because there will be judgment as well. So, and it's really stuff that is going in and out of you. So it's not that important. So I sort of get a sense of knowing how I should take the right action, the right strategy for me, so that I'm in focus on my core and I'm sort of really letting go of the energies I sense. So it feels like a little rooms where the door is open and people are going in and out, and you see a person lying there for 5 years and you just gotta let it out, like air the room. So sometimes I'll go into more conscious reflection to do some deep cleaning of my energy rooms. But on a daily basis, I feel it's so much more important to just process that intuitively. Yeah.
Okay, there's so many layers you just share. I feel touched, especially when you are talking about when you started writing, that actually kicks off that healing process for you, right? Because you are allowing that creative outlet to be a supporter, in your life, right? And you dance. I mean, love dancing. We're gonna do it later. You love to move your body. You love to do some art. You read. I know you read stories for children, right? I mean, all these are just like allowing your imagination to come out, and I definitely can resonate with you like so deeply, because a part of me when I was working in a corporate, not to blame the corporate, but I'm just saying like the past experience was me going through my professional life, like in a cubicle and trying to figure things out, you know, every step of the way through my mental processing. It was a lot of stress. And also because I just soak up a lot of energies from, you know, people around me, which I didn't know I was able to do that, you know? So being able to say, hey, now we're on a different path of self-discovery, you get to dance more, you get to paint more, you get to sing more, you get to just move around more, be in nature more. That was a complete like 180-degree difference shift in my life. And I think that's truly like the deepest healing, is like allowing ourselves to go back to our heart, like even when it's sensitive, because the more you're closer to your heart during the healing process, the more sensitive we get. Do you agree?
Yes.
The closer you're back to your heart, because I used to wear a lot of facade when I was working in the corporate, because I was kind of needed in a way for me to survive as a person. So wear many facades and learning to finally let go, that was like a daring, like a daring movement for me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, now I feel naked. My soul feels naked, not wearing anything. And then it's time to just allow that gentleness to emerge and say, one step at a time, one step at a time. It's okay. It's okay to feel this sensitive, and not to judge it as weak, because I used to think it's too weak and it's not liable. People think you're not trustworthy if you're too weak. A lot of judgment around sensitivity, seriously.
Yes. I think for me, when I sense certain heavy emotions,
yes,
you can feel like you're trying to, for me, it feels like I'm trying to block it.
Yeah.
Like this is hardening. It's like a plate of armor. And the fist, the fist start to tense, my jaw start to tense. And but when you have that kind of resistance, you also tend to hold things more easily.
Right.
Yeah. And counterintuitively, when you can just relax, you sort of become really porous and just let things pass through you.
Yes.
And whatever truly resonates with you will stay with you. And in a way that you can process and integrate more deeply.
Yeah. So another thing came in right now is that, because I know you read human design, the chart for people, the reading for people. And I've kind of dabbling on the surface of it, but I haven't gone deep enough. So I'm wondering, can you share a little bit more about like how, because I know there are 4, right? Like projector, manifester, what else?
Yes, some say 4, some say 5. So sometimes it's generators and manifesting generators, or they are split into 2.
Yes. And the projector, and then there's another one, or
reflectors, manifestors.
Yes. So do they all deal with sensitivity in different patterns, different ways, or how does it?
Okay. So
just curious.
So you can actually further like categorize into 2 large groups.
Yes.
The sacred beings. So 70% of us are sacred beings who have lots of sustainable energy to do the 9 to 5 jobs, or even longer when we are doing the work that is fulfilling and joyful to us. So we have that kind of energy. And the other 30% are non-sacred beings who don't have sustainable energies. So they can sort of amplify our sacred energies to work intensely for short periods of time. It's like, when you play a video game and you suddenly get a speed booster, then you can go ding, 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 ding. You can go and hit the coins at mega speed, at hyper speed. But that's something that is temporary. After a while, you need to let go and resume to normal speed. And that's when they need to rest for longer periods than us.
Oh, so you mean generators and manifesting generators, they can sustain the energy level for a longer
or much longer, yes.
Much longer than a projector and reflector. then?
Yeah, projector, reflectors, and manifestors.
Does that mean we're going to exhaust ourselves first before we're able to finally stop ourselves and replenish ourselves?
It means that we know we have the energy to do work, and we are aware when we are running out of energy.
Yeah.
So we know when to rest.
Yeah.
For the other 30%, they don't have the awareness that they need to rest.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because they are always surrounded by us and being stimulated by us, by our energies. Yeah. So it feels like they can go on for a long period and really work a lot harder than us.
Yes.
But they need to consciously detach from us,
so they
lie down on the bed.
Oh, okay.
Before they know that, oh, that's not my energy and I feel tired now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. So meaning we all have our, different energetic rhythms that
yes,
we need to honor, right? So when we honor those energetic rhythm that's truly designed for, who we are as a soul, we thrive easier. We work more effortlessly.
Yes. So for the 70% of us, we run into burnout when we are not doing the work that we truly love, that is fulfilling for us. Yeah. So you're not gathering the energy from your sacral. Your sacral is not supplying the energy. And that's how you run into burnout.
Yeah.
So for the other 30%, they can be doing the work that they truly love, but they can't do that for long periods of time.
Yes.
They can get into all sorts of autoimmune diseases.
Yes.
And they run into burnout really easily because they are not aware that they need to stop. They are applauded when they work a lot harder than us.
Yeah.
But they feel ashamed when they need rest. And that is if they are conscious that they need rest. So a lot of them, they keep going and going and going because that's the way society, most of us work.
Yeah, that's
we don't really need to take a lot of rest. So, but when they do embrace rest, they are realigning to their energy type.
Yeah.
And that is when they can flourish.
Wow.
Yes. So human design is very, very fascinating. There's a lot of different rhythms that are internal, and there's also external sensitivity. So just now we were talking about being sensitive to external influences that can keep changing from time to time, that we can't predict. But there's also internal sensitivity, such as your emotional cycle. Some people, they just have good moods and bad moods, and it's normal to them, like regardless of what's happening on the outside.
Yes.
If they feel depressed, they need to be with that emotion. And the more that they can trust and embrace that, the more it passes. Yeah.
That's my authority, emotional authority. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I have to learn to master that curve, emotional wave, ride it. So allowing the discomfort to hit me, but just like, I'm going to be okay. And then, and then come back again to the normal.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. And okay, so before we're going to go to the interesting part of the body wisdom movement, together, I would love for you to share a little bit about how can people find you and, to look for your service, especially for solopreneurs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm on Medium, and Medium is an online publishing platform. Yes. And I run a publication called Gentleness Ambassadors. I welcome writers, so you can just have a free Medium account to contribute articles, so I can sort of help you polish your article and because there are some certain formatting to do, and yeah, to publish your work. If you have anything to contribute about gentleness, be it as a parent or as a solopreneur, and all that. And on my website, bingzhuanghealer.com, I offer human design readings, human design chart readings. And I find it really useful because there's a lot of internal stuff that we don't have the words to describe. But human design really provides that language for you to describe how you function energetically on a very practical basis level. So you can learn to be gentle with yourself by acknowledging all these different parts of you.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone, if you are interested in learning more about human design and what Bingz just share about the wisdom of, knowing your energetic rhythm, energetic types, check out her website, and there's a lot of info, and you feel like to contribute, to the Medium platform, and she has a lot of great resource and support to help you to also make your insights and wisdom to be seen by the people who need you. Yeah, awesome. So the fun time comes. So basically, Bingz and I, we love dancing, and then we appreciate each other through the movement of the body. It's intuitive, and I know you and we share this enthusiasm for the beats, the music, and we feel deeply and we feel liberated when we dance, right? So we'd love for you to invite whatever energy you want to call in here to bring some healing energy, I guess. So we can connect together, we move together for a couple of minutes. So whoever that's watching, feel free to move with us. Yeah.
Dance.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just hold on a sec. So feel free to move with us if you are watching to this part. Okay.
For now.
All right, we just have a little part, we had a little fun, but I'm going to include the link of the song by Lee Harris. And this is beautiful Bingz from Singapore. And feel free to connect with her. She is multi-talented and very nurturing, healing soul. You will love her, to connect with her. And here we go. And thank you for joining me for the Authenticity Project, Bingz. So grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your gentleness power. And for every person who's watching, if you identify yourself as a highly sensitive being, knowing that you're not alone, and we are all here learning how to love ourselves even more dearly, unapologetically, so we can, feel free to be who we are at the same time, allow other people to be themselves as well. Yeah. Thank you so much, Bingz. Grateful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.